Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, based on your location. We hope you've had a good day and you, as well as your family and loved ones, are doing well. On behalf of AIOUG, I would like to welcome you to our weekly Knowledge Sharing for Growth webinar series. For those of you who are joining us for the first time today, AIOUG is the All India Oracle Users Group, and we conduct our knowledge sharing webinars every Wednesday. We try and bring experts from all over the globe to help our community learn and grow. And so, today we have with us Suresh Gandhi, who is a senior manager at Qualcomm and leads the database teams. He has over 20 years of experience with databases, middleware, and management. He has been associated with the AIOUG community, championing our cause by spreading his learning and knowledge via his blog. And I'm sure you've most likely come across his blog in at some situation or the other. That's the dbgeeksinside.com, or perhaps you've run into him at the various presentations that he has conducted over the past few years. So with that, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Suresh. But before I hand off, I would like to remind you a few things. The presentation will be shared with the attendees. For all your questions, there's a Q&A panel at the bottom of your screen. Please use that and not the chat, and we will take the questions during the Q&A time. Also, one request, like we usually say, do take a virtual selfie and tweet about it. This is the only way we can thank Suresh for his time. So with that, I think we're good to begin. Suresh, could you take over the screen?
Hey,
Sharing?
great. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you very much for the opportunity to present today. And thanks to all the participants. And yep, let's quickly go on to, I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know when you see my screen.
Okay.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Great. Okay, all set? Thank you. And let's move on. And today's session, I would be presenting new features for DBAs in 18C, 19C, and 20C. And if anyone interested to know about 12C features, I have written in my blog more than 100 plus features for only 12C in my blog. You can please go there and then verify that. And you can learn lot many things in the 12C, including the multi-tenant features and all. Okay, so this is about me, and I have, as Aishwarya explained, she covered everything, and just want to flash it out. Uh, I'm basically graduated in commerce, started with Fox Pro, certified professional in way back in 2099, something like that. And I currently am working with Qualcomm as a senior manager, a staff manager. That's my blog, db.geeksinsight, if anyone doesn't know about the blog. And one thing I would like to ask you all is, please happy to learn and then keen to share whatever knowledge you acquire. Try to share it through user communities, through the platforms that you have, or with the social media, whatever you have. So other fellow DBAs continue to learn from you. And AOIG is the right platform. They are doing a very great job despite of this, weird conditions or the recent conditions what we have with this COVID. So let's move on without any delay. Yep. So we'll start with 18C new features, and I'll cover around close to 40 plus features in the 18C itself. And the first one, I think many of you already know that we have the RPM based installations from 18C, where you can install the Oracle database using YAM, or the RPM package directly can download and then use it. By default, the package will be installed in opt directory, and these RPM also can be used to install your Oracle database also. It will create a sample database and add that into with running from one command, etc init configure command. So it is very useful to whenever you have a deployment models like DevOps or automated installs, and it is very useful, and it's a lightweight, and it takes less time than what you have regularly installed in your day-to-day provisioning, database provisioning. So that's one feature. And the another one is image-based installations. So what is image-based installations are is basically you will get the software zip, you unzip it, extract into your Oracle Home, whatever the directory you want to, and then it's just run your run installer.sh. It will automatically take the path and everything, and it automatically do that. One important piece you need to observe is in the installation document, you will in the window, you will see you will not see any copy, but you will just see the link and prepare binaries. That step is not anymore because you already unzip the software in your directory, current directory. So it will automatically take care of that copying part, and link and binaries will be set up automatically. So that's one is image-based installation. And yeah, so if you look at this aspect, there is another new feature called read-only Oracle Home. A read-only Oracle Home separates the software from database configuration or the log files, and also it simplifies your version control and standardization perspective. In order to have your read-only Oracle Home, you can run this ROHCTL enable, or you want to have disable, you can do that. It is basically to restrict any users updating by mistake any patches or something into this home, so that your binaries get intact, and there will be no changes to the binaries, etc. Just to make sure that you will not overriding anything of your configurations, etc. in Oracle Home. But if you have a listener already running on that, you may not be able to enable read-only. Um, okay, so another important feature is mem optimizer row store. So we all know that we can pin our tables in buffer cache. However, if you look out at this new feature, mem optimize pool to store the frequently accessed data tables via primary key values. Uh, the primary key values means you must have the primary key on the table, and there should be no compression used. And this is not an in-memory feature. This is basically an additional feature, and with additional pool in the SGA, we can use this to make sure that our tables that which are frequently accessed were separately stored in map optimized pool, and make sure that will be come from your SGA. So when you set the mem optimal pool size to a non-zero value, you will get an additional memory taken from out from SGA. So you have to plan accordingly with that. So just in case if you want to interested to optimize, to put the mem optimize in your databases, you can say something like this. For read segment creation immediate, mem optimize for read, mem optimize for write. You can mention both the cases, and then segment creation immediate. So just in case if we are not creating any data, inserting any data, the date that segment will be deferred. That's the reason we were telling that segment creation immediate, so the segment creation can be done immediately. Alter table test mem optimize for read. If you are have an existing table, you can simply do that, but ensure you have a primary key on the table. Private temporary tables, this is another new feature in 18C, which you can create a private temporary table which is available to that particular session only, where the create private temporary table is used. This is mostly and useful in Informatica, or probably the ETL stage tables kind of thing, where you have used a lot of temporary tables to just stage the data and drop them manually. Currently, uh, all this process, all these tables creation and everything is dropped like a permanent tables, or probably the temporary tables, but they are visible to entire database, all the other sessions. Okay, so with this, create private temporary table, and put the table name on commit drop definition, where so whenever you commit on that particular table, this private temporary table will automatically drop. And when you actually see, if you want to preserve that table again and you want to reuse it, you simply say on commit preserve definition, so that this private temporary table is visible until the session exists, and will be retained if you use this on commit preserve definition. Okay, and in 18C, we have schema only accounts where you can create a user without authentication, and which can be used for a proxy based authentication. Also create user test no authentication, and you can use the same user, connect through Scott or some other user, so to actually delegate that particular user to another user using the proxy account mechanism. So this feature can be useful mostly in microservices mode, or querying the database from API services, etc., without having any password mechanism. Okay, So in 12c, we can have refreshable PDB from one PDB, another PDB link. So in 12c, what you can do is we can refresh the PDB using a database link every 60 minutes or whatever mode, whatever time you want, or manual also. So in 18c, this was extended to can switch over the primary and act DB as a source via was using alter database refresh mode manual from PDB and switch over. So that what happens is you can actually make the primary DB as source or read only and the target one as the primary. So something like that you can do that switch over mode, and you can refresh that mode if every 10 minutes or something. It is very easy to do and very good to have this switchover mechanism whenever you have the maintenance or something, and you can take care of that particular aspect of PDB refresh in every 10 minutes or any other methods using the switchover mechanism. Multi-instance redo apply. So from 18c onwards, before to 18c, we don't have any feasibility that MRP can run in all standby instances. From this in 12 to 01, in fact, 12 to 01, this is 12 to 1 feature. You can actually do from sessions instance, all instances will have the MRP running, or specific instance you can put only two instances, not instance two, it's two instances. Like out of four, you can have two instances your MRP process is running in the data guard, which can be helpful in a very volatile and huge archive generation databases or OLTP databases can benefit this multi-instance to apply, and your performance of the data guard and the replication will be replication of data to standby will be quicker. Automatic recovery of non-logged blocks in standby. We are aware of that when a table has attributes set with no logging option, the redo will be missed. If you put more logging, force logging, there would be a performance impact. So that's the reason. How about using that non-logged blocks to put that to standby without performance problems or the benefit that we want? Like for example, alter database set standby logging for database availability, no logging for database availability. This mode causes load operation to send load data to each standby its own connection instead of using the RCN processes or LNS process to the standby. Means the data availability is critical. So each it has to wait for the commit. So in the other words, you have another option called load performance where you can keep this no logging blocks also published to standby without impacting your performance. So without force logging or without supplemental logging extra, this mode can be used for non-logged blocks in the primary to standby. For 12C and RC 18C, you can cancel the session instead of killing. Uh, like Alta system cancel SQL SID serial or instance ID or specific SQL ID. The benefit of this feature is your session will remain intact instead of you disruptly terminate, terminate your session. The session will be still continuing, and you can run any other next statements or following statements without impacting the session itself. So this is another good feature where you can cancel your SIDs or particular SQL ID statement instead of just killing it. Jason, you have a new function in 18C for application developers, which is called treat, and treat these column names as a JSON structure. The output will come like this. Or you can also use JSON array, object name or created whatever columns you have, it display in a array format. Instead of writing your own Python code, writing your own extraction method to format the data in CSV to that this, you can simply use treat and name as cell-res JSON. These functions to extract the output into a JSON format, which is very well useful for the application developers or to the analytics teams as well. Shared scan listeners. In 18C, we have something called shared scan listeners, where you can use it, where you can use the shared scan listener for multiple clusters, or to the multiple like a leaf and hub spoke technologies like applications and databases resides in same cluster. You can use the shared scan listeners. All you need to do is create the shared scan listeners using GNS. GNS is must for this. GNS is must for this. And then you can export scan listeners and export that data file to the target machines and add that scan listeners to particular target or to the node and start that. So all you need to do is you have the GNS, export your scan configuration, configure that into your TNS admin location into your application nodes or to the target nodes. And this scan listener will be used across all the clusters. And you can reduce the IP address allocations of scan IP address allocations, like 3 for every particular cluster. For each cluster, you can reduce that. If you are in the same subnet or something, it will be helpful there. Of course, less usage feature, but it is already there available. ASM mirror copy for PDB cloning. So you can actually clone the PDB instead of doing an ARM and restore recovery, etc. So it works in two phases. This is really helpful in point-in-time database clone of a full copy, not the underlying storage system. Only data files are copied to this. To use this feature, compatible.asm and compatible.rdbms must be set to 18.0 higher, and the disk groups must be flexible. Disk group must be flex extended disk groups, etc. So it works in phases: prepare mirror copy, split the mirror, and rebalance. So first of all, you can set alter session set container, database prepare mirror copy, PDB mirror. You just start a prepare phase, and then you see it's showing prepared DB clone status in the $ASM DB clone info. You can see DB clone status is prepared, and then create pluggable database, new PDB from PDB using mirror copy. So using mirror copy will tell you that take out that mirror copy and then create that new PDB1 instead of doing the RMN. And once you have that, you can see the DB clone status split completed, and then you can simply enable plugable. You can drop the mirror copy using drop mirror copy also. If you want to, the rebalance will be still running in the background after disk group data or rebalance wait. You can do that rebalance operation also manually. Okay, so this is very useful. Cloning small databases using disk group to disk group itself is very useful when it comes to small database cloning or small database restores. Creating a duplicate copies of your PDBs, a very useful feature within the, if you have an ASM disk group in the PDBs. And we have a lot of ASM disk group enhancements also. Okay, when it by default the disk repair time is 3.5 hours. However, that has been increased until 12 hours, and then you the disk get marked offline, and then you'll start getting alerts. There is another feature in 12c-R2. We have a flex disk groups to create a granularity database level usage. However, that is not possible to do mount in restricted mode, but in 18c, these flex disk groups are useful in can be mounted in restricted mode also, and you can convert a normal disk group to a flexible disk group also using this command alter disk group normal to flex to convert redundancy to flex. But by default, but you should have the compatibility ASM and compatibility.rdbms to 18.0 unless these commands won't work. Otherwise, this code command would work. And drop with cascade option is also introduced. You can drop disk group, drop file group test cascade. You can drop the entire file groups. I'm not sure how many of us using the file groups within the ASM disk groups, but you can actually drop the file groups also alongside with cascade option, so that entire files within that file group can also be dropped. This is one of the best feature. In fact, a lot of us using LDAP or OES or OED or something, which for to integrate with our enterprise Active Directories. So starting 18C, we have Microsoft Active Directory services, which are great features. Until now, many of us using these LDAPs or other different directory structures. I'm sorry. Yeah. So this will be same like LDAP services, which we update our details in dsi.ora and dsi.prefix, etc. And then similarly like this. So if you look out, you create an Active Directory user account and continue read privileges on the domain we need, extend the Active Directory schema for Oracle specific attributes, and then in the LDAP.ora and dsi.ora, update your AD server details, and the directory server type is mentioned compulsory that mandatory as AD, so that it picks up the AD directory and search this AD server. And you can add your wallets, and even when you configure the database, you can actually give the directory service username so that it talks to your AD server, and your AD can be implemented without any problems if you have these steps followed. And this is again sorry, this is again the enterprise version feature, and very useful in terms of if you are migrating to AD or from LDAP, which is open source. Deprecation of streams. In 12.1, it was announced streams was deprecated. 18C will be the last terminal release of the streams. 19C streams may not be working anymore. So be prepared in few years if we have streams in place. So deprecation of streams is evident now. So please prepare if you have any old streams is running, any own servers are running with the streams or packages, AQ packages. So ensure that you have come out of it. Encrypt DB-link passwords. In previous releases of Oracle, the links password, the database links passwords are stored in sys.link dollar, sys.schedule dollar link table. However, the passwords are not obfuscated or encrypted. They are in hash algorithm, hash text, but they are not obfuscated or authenticated. But when you say alter database dictionary command, encrypt credentials, all that passwords in sys.link dollar will be obfuscated or encrypted with the key store that or whatever you have specified the encryption mechanism. If you are in containers, you can use alter database dictionary encrypt credentials container is equal to all, where the password columns in the link passwords will be encrypted. So this is another good feature from the security point of view. The database links, anyone can actually do this unhashing mechanism and then extract your spare 4 keys or something, but you can still encrypt the credentials using this feature. All the database dictionary will be updated with encrypted credentials. Recover standby using service. Many of you, I believe, you already know about it. You can use instead of duplicate RMAN from active database or something, you can simply do, or even incremental forward recovery. You can simply use recover standby using service instead of using those duplicate methods like earlier. So if you have service configured specifically, you can simply mention recover standby database using that service name, TNA service name from primary. The p file is called p file name, so it will do that. With single command, we can refresh the roll forward the standby instead of doing another following multiple SCNs, etc., etc. Okay. In 12.201, $V managed standby marked as deprecated. So we have to start use $V data guard process view instead of $V manage standby. All of your scripts can be modified to $V data guard process views. Um, $V data process views. So going forward, you may not have $V manage standby in future versions. So better be prepared your scripts with $V data guard process view and more informational columns in the $V data guard process. Sharding, this is one of the features that have been introduced in 12.1, something like that. And sharding is basically another distributed database model which competes with the other distributed databases in the market. Sharding is another good feature for Oracle to ensure you have the sharded databases across the nodes. It is not the rack databases or something. It is data distributed across the nodes without sharing. There are a lot of features keep on adding in the new versions, which we have GSDC, CTL support, support CDB at CDB level as well. Some user-defined sharding methods instead of the defined sharding methods in the previous versions. And there is a quorum, I mean the consistency levels like read write consistent level like strong shard local, like Cassandra we have the local quorum all any kind of thing. Similarly we have an SCN synchronization performed across all shards, shard local, delayed standby load. So these consistency levels also been incorporated in 18C for sharding for sharding component. SQL tuning. We all know that DBMS SQL set, we have to create the set of SQL to be tuned or create a task for a set of SQL. Instead, we can start using DBMS SQL tune because this is going to be uh, uh, deprecated in future. And concurrent SQL analysis through SQL performance analyzer, that is support of parallelism. So SPA is one of the feature. You can go to my blog and then search for SPA or SQL performance analyzer. You'll get one of that post where you can compare two set of SQLs, like one from 12C, one from 18C, etc., and compare the compare the SQL that are regressed or benefited with the new features or with the new mechanism or with new optimizer. So for that there is a support of parallelism by concurrent SQL analysis. You can increase the parallelism from SQL tuning perspective. You can keep the uh, parallelism for but that particular task when you create the SPA tasks when you want to compare the 12C and 18C performance. Scalable sequences, one of the good developer feature again. So even for the DBAs, we have this problem. Let me explain this. Sequences can be scalable, means the sequences will have an extra appended columns, like scalable sequences with 6-digit scalable sequence offset number, 6 digits with 3-digit offset number, and again 3 digits as an instance number. So how does it work? Let's say create sequence as sequence one with start. I mentioned extra piece called scale extend. I have inserted a row, and then when I looked at it, my sequence should start 1, but my sequence ID should start is at 1012740001, and my SID is 274. That means my sequence started this scale offset sequence number 6-digit one, and then my SID, and appended my digit offset number, which is my instance, particular instance. So this is very useful in terms of having a huge number of data that is coming from primary key values or probably the sequence kind of values. And another important feature with this benefit with this feature is in rack we have this sequence cache problems and index contention can happen, and it you can see like NQ SQ contentions in rack, and especially with odd dollar tables or something. So in that, sequences are really helpful because they scattered across the blocks, not specifically inserted side by side. Because if it is coming from different instances, it go with the different IDs, right? And then this will be scattered across the blocks, and there would be no sequence overhead, caching problems or lock problems of sequence, and it need have to go sequence one by one later, something like that. So it is very beneficial one, and you can have n number of, even though it's a 100, you can say actually more numbers you can fit into this. Util file directory desupported. That means your parameter is going to be desupported in future. How about using this util file directory like reading an external files? Instead of specifying util file directory, you can simply specify util file.open and mention the directory object. You remember that we can create directories in the Oracle. You can directly mention the directory object, or by using location parameter in the fopen and char if you have any external files to be read, instead of using util file directory. This is in view of extending our security features, in view of strengthening our database security posture. Util file directory is prone to hackers, and many hackers try to target this parameter, and then using this util file.open and create your object directory, call that object directory with fopen would really helpful. The support of alter command in DGMGRL. You going forward, your alter commands may not be work for data guard brokers. Instead, you can use edit database in order to avoid the confusion with the having two commands. Okay, you are firing the alter database command in the instance, and as well as that you will do that in edit, and it will be overwritten, etc. So going forward, we can use edit commands instead of alter commands for the DGMGRL options. And standby archive destination is also desupported because we do have 31 parameters to local, and there is another need not to have standby archive destination, and which requires sometimes people will use this or sometimes people will use that. So in order to avoid those confusions, we have this standby archive destination is removed from the initializing parameter set. DBMS session.sleep. Many of us know that DBMS session.lock has been there lock there from a long time. Okay, so which locks your session, and then which locks your session and then keep it your session for some time. Instead of lock, you can use DBMS session.sleep, and it automatically sleep your session for some time. and it is now deprecated, you should transition your code to dbms underscore session package instead. Revoke any dbms log packages. It is deprecated. That's the dbms session.log is been replaced. It may be still working in new versions, but that's the feature going forward. Audit records to syslog and event viewer. So many of us knows that we have this uh, event logs in Windows going to event log directories, whatever the SQL servers or probably any other logs that comes. Until now, what we are going to do is our audit logs, audit records are storing in specific directory, whatever the directory we specify, right? Or to the location that it has. When you actually set unified audit system log true, and what is that you want to have the priority clause, etc. All your logs will go to either syslog, log path locations. So it is very useful to do the log analysis and log mining using log analysis tool like Elasticsearch or any other analytics mechanism. So either you need not to pass all these audit records through a separate channel. If you put all these audit records to a syslog in your Unix directory or your Windows event viewers, all these logs will be taken care either from your syslogs or logstash or Elasticsearch, whatever it is, to give you a benefit of log analysis using logstash, Elasticsearch, or Kibana, or any other Oracle analytics methods. It is also one of the good feature for machine learning or probably the machine log analysis features. If you want to put for audits, that that's one of the good feature I would see. SQL plus new features. So you can display the SQL ID with current and executed statement instead of firing with $, SQL, what is that SQL, etc. If you fire a command and set feedback on SQL ID, it will show you the SQL ID immediately. One of the good feature, instead of you search it out, what is the SQL ID for this particular query, you simply say set feedback on SQL ID, it will show you that. All right, and there are a lot more in 18C. Dormant duplicate PDB or a check patch application. We all know that there are a lot of changes in the patch nomenclature like RU, RUR, etc. I'm not covering those, and TD enhancements were also there. That closes my 18C list. Hope you are fine with that. I saw some of the questions here, but we'll take it at last. Okay, auto indexing feature. So one of the best and better and Oracle Open World feature, auto indexing feature in 19C, where you can actually explore auto indexes as through via tasks. What mean by tasks? Our maintenance tasks like statistics jobs, tuning advisor, segment advisor runs at night 10 o'clock or something through our maintenance tasks. Similarly, auto indexing feature also can be enabled by using the command auto index mode implement. It's not worked at the initial stages, but it is working. So sys auto index task is the task where you can enable that, and you can create for particular schema or something, and it will be useful. So what it will do, auto index create invisible auto indexes. It analyzes all the SQL statements over the night, what has been run previous from previous 24 hours or whatever the time, and analyze all the statements and sees what, if a index is created for those statements, would that be benefit or not. Initially, they will be created as invisible auto indexes. If the performance of SQL statements is not improved from the auto index statements, then this index marked as unusable and the corresponding SQL statements are blacklisted. Auto indexes cannot be used for first time SQL run against the database. Auto indexes are created either single concatenated indexes or even the function based indexes, and they all use advanced low compression. The unused auto indexes are deleted after 373 days, or you can put the retention specifically, and the unused non-auto indexes are never deleted by the automatic index process. So that means whenever you create manual indexes, you delete it. But auto indexes will be deleted with the by default as 373 days if they are not been used. And some certain important views for to check automatic indexing, like DB advisor execution task. If you want to check the task and you want to check the logs of the sys auto indexes, what is the auto index statistics, index objects or whatever been created. You can check whether any indexes have been created. Okay, so most importantly, this auto indexing feature is great and creates lot and lot of indexes. You can either directly implement it or directly just for a report purpose also you can keep. So that's where you can choose a balance between, first of all, you implement this feature, try to understand how many indexes needed, what is the benefit of having them, and if you are satisfied, you can put that as an implement. If you don't satisfy, don't put that implement, because there are many bugs also, but which we have fixed in probably 19C or upcoming features. At the same time, you need to understand carefully whether this feature is really helpful or it is going to deteriorate your performance drastically. So you have to choose uh, carefully and smartly as well. SQL quarantine. SQL quarantine is one of the feature that we know that we can actually flush the SQL statement, and we can kill the SQL statement or SQL ID using alter session cancel command or something. But what if that user is again keep on running that statement? What if that user keep on running that statement again and again? So in that cases, you can actually mark the statement as SQL quarantine using that SQL ID and that particular plan hash value, and it's all execution plans if you want. And for on the text also, you can create, instead of SQL ID, you can put that entire text so that users do not run this statement again and again. So you can completely quarantine that statement and ensuring that users are not impacting the performance of database by running an ad hoc queries in critical databases, etc. DML redirection to standby. So your DML statements can run in active data guard standby databases, and occasional DMLs or something you want to run like batches or something, you can run onto the standby instead of impacting your performance. It's just to alleviate some of the performance problems or ad hoc batches running in the standby. So what happens is, sorry. So what happens is when you put this parameter alter session or alter system enable ADG redirect DML, the statements actually runs on standby. It again push back that statements are running over the network back to primary. So we need to ensure that if you're running long batches, make sure that you will not do this. If it's short statements or short-term standby activities, I mean the OLTP kind of activities, this is good. But if you're running from a long batches kind of thing, it will be having a network, because all these DMLs will run over the network and to the target database. Then it will have the problem of a back and forth message passing, etc. But really a good feature to alleviate one of the batch problems or probably the OLTP problems or ad hoc runs of inserts or updates onto the database. You can segregate that load to standbys also. Real-time statistics for DML operations. So you in 12c we see that like create table as select collect the statistics. Before to 12c, create table as select doesn't collect the statistics, but from 19c onwards, you can have the real-time statistics also to support the conventional DML. What is conventional DML? This is an insert, update, and delete. So when DML operation is currently modifying a table which is conventional, Oracle database dynamically computes the values for most essential statistics. What is mean by most essential statistics is min, max, and number of rows. That's it. Nothing else, not histograms or something. So that is very quick. Instead of having histograms or all this stuff, the most essential statistics will be collected on the particular table where the DML is concurrently running. And the parameter to do that is underscore optimizer gathered statistics on conventional DML to true, and optimizer stats on conventional rate is 100%. So if you put these parameters, it automatically collect the stats as and when the DMLs are running on the target tables. And again, remember, this is only essential statistics, not all the statistics. High frequency statistics collection. Um, High frequency statistics collection is, we know that our maintenance jobs are running over the night, like 10 to next 4 hours is a window, and weekends it is a 24 hours window. What if that window is not sufficient to us, or a table is there which is having ev- every 1 hour the data is changing, and the optimizer is picking the old data and you have the SKUs in the plan. You want to pick the new data. So as of now, what we are doing, we are asking that particular ETL jobs or ETL teams or others to collect the statistics before running the job. If not, what we can do is we can set the frequency of those particular collection jobs and frequently run the statistics, like every 60 minutes or every 2 hours or something, so that our statistic job runs frequently, so that these anything that goes between these two schedules, stale between these two schedules, statistics will collect on that particular tables. This is very important, very good feature, but at the cost of performance, but at the same time cost of at the benefit of your jobs will be getting completed quickly. No need of having an extra jobs in the what you call in the ETL jobs or something. High frequency stats collections also is possible now, and you can use this feature wherever required, and highly volatile databases or tables you can add this. Replicate restore points from primary to standby. So going forward, we can have this feature from 19C. Restore points will be passed to standby. Okay, so whenever you have the restore point created in production or in the primary, the same restore point is also going to be created in standby to give the benefit that whenever we move to this restore point, the standby will also will be moved automatically. So when you have this process, MRP process is going to take care of creating restore point in standby. The restore point will be named suffix with underscore primary in standby. So if you create a restore point with X and X underscore primary will be displayed in the standby, so that it tells that this restore point is coming from primary, not from the standby within itself. Automatic flashback in standby following primary database flashback. So this is a feature that when you do the flashback of a primary, you have to go and rebuild the standby, do a manual process of recovery, everything, right? So when you actually do this automatic flashback and standby following primary database flashback, if you set this parameter like standby auto flashback is introduced, which enables database to be flashbacked automatically in standby also following your primary. This detects new incarnation, flashbacks the standby or the PDB. PDB level also it is possible. Restart the standby recovery and moves the standby to new branch of redo. Okay, so this is also one of the good feature. Instead of rebuilding your entire standby or do some recovery procedure, it's simply flashback. But if you don't want to flashback your standby, you just need to set this parameter as false. Or you can set your database in a read-only mode in standby. Read-only mode in standby, or keep it open, something like that. It won't flashback the standby. Password removed from database accounts. All the default accounts, schema accounts are default accounts are removed, and they become as schema only accounts. Okay, so this is very good in terms of not having any passwords, but you can mention them as a schema only accounts. The benefit of this feature is that administrator no longer have to periodically rotate the passwords for this Oracle database maintained accounts. Um, so this is again one of the 19C feature for DBS. ADDM at PDB level, enabling ADDM in pluggable database by default by setting the AWR PDB auto flush enabled parameter with true, so that it starts flushing the PDB level metrics to ADDM, and you can get the get the ADDM reports specifically for PDB level. So the parameter for is AWR PDB auto flush enabled is equal to true. Some restrictions were there. Please check the documentation. We haven't get that all the updates here. Password removed from database accounts. Yes, this is not this one. Flush metadata cache for passwords. So alter system flush password file metadata cache. What it does is it's actually whenever you change the database password and password file is updated, it will take some time to update that password in metadata. If you do this, it will take the new password and update the $$ password file info. This functionality is useful whenever the database password file name location or a metadata cache need to be updated. It uses the latest database password from the file. Auto upgrade utility, many of you may have already know about it. Auto upgraded is compatible with 12.2, 18.5, and you need to download the kit from this Metalink node. There is auto upgrade.jar. You can mode analyze, fix ups if you want to fix the pre-upgrade issues or something. And once you do the deploy or upgrade, you can do this with this. And I haven't tested this. I'm not worked yeah, so long, so but this is one of the good feature for auto upgrade, which makes your upgrade seamless with less issues or something. Yeah. New listener auto params for network logs. So we know that we have the scripts to maintain the logs or ADG scripts or diagnostic directory scripts, etc. So with this log file num listener name, log file size listener name, these two parameters options can be added into your listener.aura. How many files you want to have, what is the size of the file you can have. So if it grow beyond to that, Oracle automatically clean up these files, and you need not to have any other mechanism to clean up your network logs. Okay, so this size of the file can be in MB. So you can mention 1 MB, 2 MB, or 100 MB, something like that. In the listener.aura file itself, you can mention so that it take case of that file rotation for listener logs, XML files, etc. Privilege analysis. Built-in privilege analysis is there is there from 12c actually, but it is a part of vault feature earlier. But from 19c onwards, this is part of an enterprise edition onwards, where DBMS privilege capture with for particular user, particular database or something, you can run this package procedure with creating a policy, enable the policy, and run it for some time and analyze your results and see if there are any unused privileges for particular user or at database level, so that we can ensure all our privileges are least privilege model. So this privilege analysis capture is been free from 19c onwards. Clear flashback logs periodically. We have this problem long time. Flashback logs is full. You have to adjust the flashback retention target. From 19c onwards, the management of space of the fast recovery area is simplified. Database monitor that flashback logs and fast recovery area automatically deletes that logs beyond the retention period. It automatically takes care of that. You need not to do that. And the retention target is reduced. The flashbacks beyond the retention period are deleted immediately. In scenarios where a sudden workload spikes causes a number, the workload is monitored for few days before deleting. However, the problem is that we have to manage these logs if you have a restore points, if you have a guaranteed restore points, etc. So that where we have to make ensure that we will need this feature wherever it required, not all the cases. It will automatically adjust to that, but be careful with this. Dry run mode for grid setup.sh. You can run, it's like a Cluffy pre-install something, but beyond to that you can run a lot of other things like permissions, etc. It's a grid setup.sh dry run for upgrade. Cluffy doesn't do for an upgrade checks. Maybe this grid setup.sh will do for an upgrade for 19c or from 18c to 19c or 12c to 19c, where you can check what are all the things that are missing for a new home or required for to upgrade. It will give you the details. Duplicate database in DBA Silent itself. So earlier we have this duplicate rman commands. We do not have any mechanism to duplicate the database within the same server or something. You can actually to dbca hyphen create duplicate db, um, and requires easy connection string if you are doing it with the TNA service or something. So this is an additional stuff in DBCA. And again, another thing in DBCA added is create from remote PDB. So create from remote PDB using DBSA is possible, and DBSA silent create pluggable database with option create from remote PDB. You can use this feature, whatever the PDB name you have a TNS string added there, it automatically duplicate the database from that particular target database. You need not to have and even the database link, it's from DBCA. Okay. You can say source name, remote PDB name, remote DB connection string. You can give all the details. You can clone that PDB from using remote itself. All the backend things will be taken care. Either it is a duplicate through a link, duplicate through a service, it will be taken care. Cluster database instances is desupported. Service underscore names are also desupported in 19C. These two parameters, specifically for the rack perspective, these two are desupported. And rack desupport in standard edition 2. 19C standard edition rack is desupported. You may not have Oracle Real Application clusters for standard edition 2. It is standard edition 2, it's standard, not standard edition 1 or something. So this is also got desupported. Dynamic service fallback to preferred instance. So far, what we are doing is we manually relocate the services whenever there is a failure with TAF, right? We manually relocate, fall back the services. But with this feature, what we'll do is when you add the SRVCTL add service, preferred instance and available instance, and do a fallback. That means whenever the service is failed over from instance 2, in case of failures, when the instance 1 is available, it automatically fail back to instance 1. You need not to relocate it manually. This is one of the good feature. We will use this many times. If you add this properly, and then the fallback mechanism will automatically take place whenever the instance 1 is available back. This is good one. EZ Connect enhancements. So we all know that EZ Connect is possible by using without TNS entry, username, password, and DB string, etc. host. Now, if you want to add additional network settings like STU, retry count, connect timeout, etc., you can specify using the API service kind of method mechanism like connect timeout, transport connect, retry count. These EZ Connect enhancements are available from 19C onwards with SQL Plus. Max idle parameters in 12C and 19C. Okay, so we do have in 12C we do have max idle time. Okay, so we do have max idle time parameter in 12C. However, we do have another new parameter called max idle blocker time, which specify the maximum number of minutes that a blocking session can be idle. After that point, the session is automatically terminated. So far, whenever we receive the blocking sessions from OEM or anything, we are manually checking and closing and killing after application team confirms, etc. Okay, but if you specify the parameter and after that particular minutes, the sessions will automatically terminated and blockings will be cleared. So this is towards our automation, autonomous databases goals, right? So this is also one of the good feature. Yeah, and max idle time instead of profiles, max idle time also can be set at instance level. After that idle time, the sessions can be terminated. The sessions can be removed. Ignore hints. Ignore hints parameter was an underscore parameter before 19C, and from 19C onwards, alter system set optimizer ignore hints is equal to true. Will actually give the ignores the hints even though you have the hints manually specified or anywhere in the database, it ignores that. Max data pump parallel job. When this parameter is set to auto, Oracle data pump derives the value should be at session 50% of initialization parameter. So say as an example, my max DVOP is set at 100 or auto, and I have the parallelism enabled for tables, etc., whatever it is. And I specified the parallel value for data pump job at, say, someone by mistakenly done for 15 or 20. So 20 sessions or 20 worker jobs will be created. Instead of having that over allocations or something, if you put max data pump parallel per job, say whatever data pump jobs that created would have only two process like n. You can specify from 1 to 50. That is, 1 is 1 worker, 2 is 2 workers, 50 is 50 workers. You can control with the instance level parameters instead of individuals can specify their parallel per job. There is a side effect also if you specify this and no one is specifying the parallel, then that's a problem. Okay. Machine learning additions. So this is one of the greatest addition to 19C. There is a YouTube link I have posted here. I posted in my blog also today morning that one of the best video. You can see how to use this random forest, neural network, time series, etc. features in 19C, and really great to see that this random forest algorithms, neural network algorithms, time series algorithms can be called within the database itself using database underscore mining package, dbms underscore data underscore mining package, and you can set up these algorithms, run these algorithms against your data within the database and get the data. You use these machine learning algorithms for your analytics business, which is very good. Try to watch out this video. This video has a lot of 4 or 5 examples using these features, and very good one. I would recommend to use this, have this video to watch. All right, this is not 18 features. This is 19C. I'm done with that 19C, and almost close to 60 we have covered, I believe, as of now, more than 60. And we will move to 20C new features. And the safe harbor is it's still in preview. Non-prompt is not really released. So that's a safe harbor. Some features may be available in future. Some features may not be available. This is all from the documentation, release notes, from internet blogs, etc., etc. So that's a safe harbor statement. So a lot of new features in 20C as well. In general, data guard, rack, ASM, performance troubleshooting, security. I've not added a lot many, but I have covered a lot here. Online secure file defragmentation. So earlier, if we have is secure files, you cannot defragment it on automatically using online alter table modify shrink. You have to go with an export and import procedure only. But secure file defragmentation or D2 can be possible by using alter modify lob shrink clause itself from 20C onwards. This is an important feature because from 18C or 19C onwards, most of lobs were asked to move to secure files because the generic lobs are not going to be deprecated. So this feature is very important. Those who have lobs, secure files, and want to shrink, instead of doing an export import or some other methods, you can use the online method for the defragmentation aspect. Alrighty, expressions in parameters. So this is an extract of the documentation directly. So you can have these expressions. For example, you want to have CPU count 8 into 0.6. I don't know what is 6 is, but 0.6 is, say you have the percentage of the 6. Similarly, you want to have job queue processes is equal to the number of processes. If you want to put shared servers, like you can put these expressions and based on some other parameters, which is possible from 20C onwards. Based on, for example, if you want to set an SGA, a combination of all the other stuff, or a parallelism, a combination of other factors like CPU, how many CPUs are available, you can mention that. So expressions in parameters are possible with 20C. New data type JSON. In 19C or 18C, I've shown that we have a function to get the result in JSON format. From 20C onwards, we have a new data type, which is a JSON format itself. Okay, it's as a parameter of PLSQL program or a column or something. You can do this, and your JSON will be ready in the database column itself. Standard edition with HA, high availability. As per recent updates from the Oracle blog, in fact, standard edition high availability solution with Oracle Grid Infrastructure provides cluster-based failover to standard edition. So this is possible now. And remember, in the previous mentions, I mentioned that with standard edition 2, not standard edition itself. It's a standard edition, plain standard edition, not standard edition 2. In the standard edition itself, you have the high availability. That's why they have removed the standard edition 2 for rack, and all the standard editions, the standard edition itself have the high availability feature. In-memory base level for free. So we all know that in-memory feature is of the license one, and we have to pay for that. But what if we want to test it? What if you want to have to identify what are all the benefits, features, etc. So, or else you want to use it for a minimum set of memory, for example, like 16 GB, 10 GB, or 5 GB. So if you can use until 16 GB for in-memory option, you need not to worry about the licenses, which is a base level value. You cannot set that. So 16 GB, you can in memory size, you can mention and use it without any cost, which will be updated in, which is updated in the new features release notes. It supports all the database features except automatic in-memory. That means in-memory self-management is not possible. Compression levels not for low. Excluded columns is not possible. The cell memory, the Exadata is also not supported with that. Okay, so you can test it out whatever in-memory features if you want until that 16 GB, or even use that in a production usage until that 16 GB. If it is more than that, you have to pay for it. Macros, another development feature, developers feature, in fact. So if you look out this is an extract of blocks.oracle.com. So if you look at this particular aspect, we have to write these case conditions when we want to extract the data with if conditions, something like this, with these formulas or multiplications or etc. The SQL macros are two types. One is scalar and the table type macros, where in the scalar example is you can create a function with SQL macros and give the same thing and it will derive the same value what your manual conditions are. The reason to put that in SQL macros are basically to utilize the PLSQL functions directly. So when you do this, it has to switch to SQL expressions to PLSQL expression. There is a context switch happening between SQL and PLSQL engines. But with this, it will not happen that way. It will directly call the PLSQL engine code and PLSQL will be executed. That's how it is very useful when you have large number of functions or scalar functions that need to be used. Instead of writing these conditions, you can write a functions and call that functions and get the derived values, and the context switch between the SQL and PLSQL code will be reduced. Point in time recovery for PDB. Another feature in 20C, you have this flash PIT, point in time recovery, or a flashback on PDB level. You can create a restore point, and then you can flashback pluggable database and alter database pluggable PDB open reset logs. So you can do that. This is a point in time you can specify from 20C for PDB level. Data pump enhancements, resume transport table space job. Earlier it was not there, and include and exclude in same operations. So you can actually specify include and exclude in same operations. But it is very within that particular import or export job. Optional index compression. You can have an index compression while importing using the index compression clause. So these are some of the data pump enhancements. New privilege for diagnostics. So there is a new system privilege enable diagnostics and diagnostic control parameter, which helps you to debug events by certain set of users only, not to everyone, because they may contain some of the sensitive data and you don't want to expose all these diagnostic details to everyone. So you can ensure you can have an enable diagnostics and diagnostic control initialization parameters set for that. Unified auditing only 20C onwards. We are hearing it from 12C that unified auditing is there. You have to switch from 20C onwards. Only possible ways you set your DB audit parameter to unified auditing and set accordingly all your scripts, everything. So ensure you have a unified auditing set for the auditing parameters and set your log locations, etc. Everything is tested out before we move to 20C. I think this is already covered. Yeah, another important feature, ADO, AIO, automatic index optimization. So you need not worry about going forward about rebuilding, shrinking, managing, etc. You can simply compress, shrink, rebuild, automatically take care of this particular task. Use system how to enable set heat map on, add policy tier, add optimizer, and you can simply alter index on ILM add policy after 10 days, no modifications. Alter index ILM add policy tier what table space name. So you can switch the indexes to a low tier storages, or the any other policies that you have with ADO, but this required an advanced compression option and an automatic data optimization feature license, which is good, but comparatively to automatic indexing, that is not. That feature is really good compared to this, but again, rebuilding is one challenge that we have constantly, which will alleviate benefit from this feature. Blockchain tables, 20 features. Hope you all everyone aware of this. Blockchain tables have this uh, new type of tables you can create a blockchain table. That's a command, and it will create that rows into a block into each chain using hashing algorithm, and then each of these rows particularly maintain a chain which marked with row id with some hashing mechanism. Blockchain tables are insert only tables that are organize rows into a number of chains, and is a new concept with Oracle 2020c. Each row in a chain except the first row is chained to the previous row using by a cryptographic hash. For each rack instance, a blockchain table contains 32 chains ranging from 0 to 31. But these following operations are not enabled or not uh, work with blockchains, which are prohibited. Updating and merging rows, adding, dropping, truncating, dropping partitions, direct path loading. So as you know that blockchains are a continuous or a chain of rows with some cryptographic, and each pair or the peer has to verify, like chain is verifiable by participant, and then only the transaction is possible. So that is why there are some prohibitions in this initial release. Maybe you will get more and more in uh, upcoming features. But this is also now available within the database. Machine learning additions as updated in 19C, random forest, time analysis, neural networks are available, and we have more and more ML additions with MSET, uh, SPRT, and also we have an XGBoost algorithms available, and you can use DBMS data mining package to explore this machine learning algorithms within the Oracle database and its data. Automated in-memory management, self in memory. So when you actually set in-memory automatic level setting to high, it automatically takes care of flushing the tables or the columns from the in-memory, and it is completely autonomous. It is completely autonomous. It will evict that particular rows and keep cool data or the hot data accordingly, and it maintains fully this automatic setting, this automatic flushing and everything. So intermediate data, cool data memory enhancements, column no longer required, mark the table within memory. Machine learning algorithm will automatically load and delete tables without user involvements. Cold tables without user involvement, compress less frequently accessed in memory columns. Lot of things that will take care by setting this parameter itself. So we are moving towards, we know that SGA, PGA, everything is auto managed. Now in memory also is going to be auto managed by and benefit with this feature. PDB isolations using Nest. We know instance caging, we know uh, DRMs, we know everything, right? So this is another new feature called uh, controlled isolation at OS resources, and file system isolation at PDB level, and secure computing using the privilege mechanism. The parameter called dbnest enable, when you put this parameter on, it automatically create Linux views and create those underlying Linux views, and then take care of everything from the infrastructure perspective. So it works at CDBs, and it can contains number of PDBs like 99 PDBs, etc. In that case, in that instance, in that nest, and then they can have their own Linux processes and own PIDs, etc. So this is useful when you have large number of PDBs, and you have the file systems and everything need to be segregated properly. The PDB isolation using Nest is definitely useful. With that, I think I covered almost close to 90 plus features in this entire presentation. I'll now check questions. That's right. The first question, so DBS won't be able to see the private temporary tables. That's right. Yeah, those who have executed the create private table command, that session only able to do. May know the difference between private temp table and global temp table. Global temp tables are visible across the instances and visible to across the sessions. Private temporary tables are visible only to that particular session where the private table has been executed. Yep. Um, as of now, for no deprecation of streams, etc., as of now, there is no specific features. Um, Golden Gate is one choice. Uh, we don't have any other feature, etc. As of I know. Automatic index feature in Oracle all editions or not. It is available in Enterprise Edition, and as of now, this feature is available with 19C. Create session could share the PPT. Yes, we will do that. In 19C feature, removing the password for Oracle maintained schema, does it remove passwords for system user as well? Answer is yes, because they are maintained schemas, correct. Any date to release 20C to download from OTN? I don't have an answer for that, but on the cloud version of 20C is already there, and you can try it out. Again, it's supposed to be released last July. I don't know, but yeah, something like that. Thanks for sharing. Thank you very much for joining. I would take the questions before you leave. I have small survey that we can have. If you go to the menti.com, I have this survey. So I hope you have heard about a lot of things. Can you go to menti.com and can you see my screen and use this code in your mobiles? Which feature you like the most? And I will answer the questions that participant has raised. I will answer the questions once the survey is over. So can you go to menti.com in your mobiles or in your this thing? Can you see my screen and the code?
Yes, Suresh. We can see your screen.
Yeah, that's great. So if you anyone start, take that code. You need not to log in or anything. You just take it and then you just update which feature you would like to. You can add two words, anything. 19 CPU, which is cloud test. I like the word called quarantine. Any feature that you feel that you liked it. Automatic indexing. Oh, read demo. That's good. I've seen 11 participants. That's great. AD authentication. Yeah, automatic indexing is taking lead. Yes, data type is really good. Feedback with SQL IDs. I know that person will have a lot of problems with SQL performance. High frequency stats. This is really great. This shows you are with me. Hold the session. Quarantine, automatic indexing, data pump, max idle parameters. You can see that now. SQL cancel. Great. 46. I see how we have more than 100 participants. I'll wait for more another 3 minutes and then go with the next one. Machine learnings, definitely. I think I would suggest to go with that video, what I've shared. It is very, very useful and I really liked it. And a lot of new things in machine learning you will learn with Brendan Tarney video. It was published way back in March 2020 and very useful one. Auto upgrade, include and exclude, flashback retention, blockchain tables. Yes. SQL cancel, law of reorganization. Awesome. I'll wait for one more minute to give the benefit of other participants. We have 90 responses so far. Awesome. Thanks for your feedback. No authentication schemas. Great, really great. Cool, right? See a few more coming. Cool. And then what I'll do is, yeah, I'll take the questions meanwhile. In 19C, okay, this is done. Yeah, thank you, sir. Any new feature in application continuity as part of 19C or 20C? The application continuity, that what I shared, like service fail back is one of the new feature. There is a couple of other features which I have not listed. Definitely there are one or two features there, but I have not listed. I can post that in my blog. Please share the machine learning YouTube video link in this chat. All right, we'll do that definitely. Or else, if you go to my blog, that is already available on the first post itself. Today morning only I have posted that. I'll share that video with you, no props. Give me one sec. Yeah. Okay, I'll post this one in the chat. Where is chat? Yeah. Okay, so this is one done. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So I think we finished this one. I have one more Menti. Give me one sec. I don't know how to switch this. This is done. How about, yeah, this is another Menti. How many new features you came across in today's session? 5, 10, 15, more than 5. So please vote for this as well. So we know that how useful this session is for you. Okay, I've started with that. You can simply select how many sessions you have and then submit. Hope this session is useful. We have not covered in terms of demo basis because there are many sessions, many features. Most of the demos are the in-depth details are available in my blog. You can go there. This is just to cover the basics and give you the gist of all the new features so that you can go back and then verify the or use the interested features and learn more about those interested features. Okay. Well, I'll take some questions. DB audit, yes. As I said, like the event viewer, syslog and event viewer publishing, right? Your audit trails will go to now the syslog and event viewers as of I see that DBA feature. But there are certain other features like implement enhancements in TDE or Oracle Data Pump jobs, etc. They are definitely new features. If you can go through to release Oracle 19's release new features guide, you definitely see more than that, which are more relevant to applications or probably the development side of it. But from the DBA perspective, a couple of them I've already noted. Yeah. All right. We have 43. We still have 100 plus participants. I'll wait for some time for more than 2 minutes if anyone wants to share their. All right, thank you.
Hey, thanks, Suresh. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay. So there are two participants raised a hand. So I think they want to ask something voice over. So let me allow them So just keep it because we are running out of time. So let's spend
Yeah,
5 more
sure.
minutes. Anjali, you can go ahead and talk. Unmute yourself. Or you by mistake, you raised your hand. Okay, I'll give the next opportunity to Ravi Kishore. You have any questions or you just raised a hand? If you want to ask anything, please unmute yourself and talk. Oh, now people are raising hands. Okay.
Okay, let me go ahead and see that. Active Directory feature is available in 19C. That's right.
Srivatsava?
Yeah, hi. First of all, thank you very much for the wonderful session. I had one query with the real-time statistics.
Yeah.
It's that if the real-time statistics can help the optimizer, with the updated steps even during query gets executed, then why do we need a regular, gather stats job that we have on specific times or the high frequency stats? Because optimizer will anyway always have the updated stats, right?
You choose one of the beasts, right? You don't have all these beasts need to be, right? So if you are having a very volatile database and you have a batch processes, frequency stats will help. If you have a database where your queries are also running, a generic data warehouse kind of thing, and you're changing the data rapidly, an optimizer has to choose the old stats only, right? In those cases, the real-time statistics will help. So it's up to you how you balance with that. But these two are two different beasts altogether. Frequency stats are completely different. It will collect the stats between these two, between the two runs, marked as stale. But conventional DMLs, like a real-time stats, doesn't work that way. It's completely different. And again, it's only the essential statistics. It doesn't collect full statistics. It takes care of min, max, and the number of rows only that have changed and collect that. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks,
thank you.
Suresh. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So I have two more. Let me go to Ramakrishna. Just keep it crisp because we have only 5-10 minutes. Yeah. Ramakrishna, go ahead and talk.
Hi, Gandhi.
Hi.
Thanks for the session, and okay, it's very wonderful session. Yeah, I have one question. Okay, you have any idea about 07 underscore dictionary parameter in the parameter file for specific to 19C?
No, I have not came across. Thanks for
Okay.
sharing. I'll go back and then see. Yeah.
Because when you put that parameter, you can put it on, so you are unable to proceed with DB creation. Okay.
That parameter could be reason for seven data dictionary model. I'm sensing that. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, there is something very long back. There is some parameter called 7 accessibility, 07 accessibility. It says that it's an old the dictionary model where you want to still access the dictionary model kind of thing. That's what I sense it, but I don't have a full understanding of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more thing, is there any specific reason, any changes in 12.1202 and 19.3, 9.3 rconfig file, any changes in that rack one node conversion?
Which one? Oracle OneNote.
rconfig file, there is a rconfig tool is there. It
No,
will
I have
convert
not. I have not gone through with that single node, Oracle single node or Oracle restart feature. I have
Yeah,
not came
Oracle
across.
rack one node conversion,
Yeah.
we are facing issue. Is there any parameter, any extra that thing? You have any idea about that?
No.
Okay.
I think the best thing, Ramakrishna,
Yeah.
again, we are running out of time. So what you can do is
Oh,
you
Drop a
submit
note.
your
We can check. Yeah.
you can
yeah,
submit a question here in the
sure.
speaker feedback, and we will answer. And apologies for others because we have to close this session. So thank you very much, Suresh. And again, Suresh is our biggest supporter of AIOG. So anytime you guys like the session, maybe he will run one more session, maybe in a couple of weeks time. So please let us know by speaker feedback. Thanks, Suresh. And let me go to the next slide. So here you can see Suresh, Twitter handle, as well as use AIoT webinar, because that is the only way you can connect with other virtual participants as well as speakers, and that way people know what is happening here. And also, speaker feedback, please ask all your questions, or if you want to one more session from Suresh, please let us know. And I'll just keep this one for 1 minute, and you can take a scan of this and submit your questions. This is very important, right? If you're not asking, we will jump into the other topics, right? And most of the topics are driven by our voluntary team. So you should ask what you want. Sometimes this is the problem, right? So please ask in the speaker feedback. Okay, who's coming next? We have a real world performance team, Toon. He was there in a couple of years back in India. It's a very great team if you want to learn on performance tuning. So he's going to talk about connection pool siting concept. So he's currently preparing a presentation for this specific webinar. So please join next week and make it very successful. And also, we have 2 more. We are supposed to publish today, but running out of some time. But we have analytics deep dive session is coming. Also, we have a security hands-on coming, and a lot of stuff is coming, because we thought let's run more of hands-on sessions. And also, all the members, please use Facebook Workplace. Ask your questions, and we want to really serve better for all our members, right? So please ask your questions in this one. I hope you can see my Facebook Workplace. No, yeah, I know. Okay, 1 second. Where I am here. Okay, stop share, and again share it again. Let me share entire screen, so that way it will be easy for me to navigate. Yeah, this is we use all our members Facebook Workplace. The purpose of this platform is to share, and it's more of closed community. We are going to run more sessions internally. That means for our members, and you can put all your questions. And one of the bottom line is to connect the product development team or product management team directly with you, so that you can ask them directly, right? And also there are a number of things we are working on it. For example, you may be participating in the beta program, like 20C or 21C, whatever the new releases are coming. So we are basically building this platform, bridging gap between Oracle and the user. So please use this platform. And I know there are many people are not signed in. We will send you, in a couple of days, because we are all volunteers, and we also doing a full-time jobs. And so hope you guys understand, right? So with that, we will close today's session, and thank you very much, Suresh. Hope we can see you again in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah, thank you.
Sure, thank you, and thanks to all the volunteers and AOAG. Keep going. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the participants as well. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.